So I was browsing through TikTok the other day and I stumbled upon a video. I think it's Gogo Opry, one of the, according to me, one of the wisest men of this country. And he said something interesting. He said, I think he was being interviewed and they were talking about the recent fires that happened in our parliament. So apparently the recent fire was not the first one. There was a fire sometime in March. So Gogo Opry said something interesting. He said, those are not fires, they are prophecies. And yeah, I paused for a moment. For some reason, my spirit understood what he meant. My mind probably struggled a bit to really grapple with that statement, but somehow my spirit knew what he meant. So here's the thing. There's a lot of injustice in this country, in different spheres. Our government is corrupt. That's not a secret. South Africa is one of the countries that is charging earners ridiculous tax, yet that does not translate into policies that would make our country a better country economically. There's so many things wrong in our country, and most of it is because of bad leadership. Now, you need to understand that, as people, we may not have control of certain things, certain injustices that may have been there for a long time. It doesn't take, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that this country needs urgent intervention. We can't carry on like this. If you look at our unemployment numbers, they're quite terrible. If you look at, some of the, economic gaps that exist, this country is considered to be one of the most unequal countries on earth when it comes to, the distribution of our wealth. That kind of setup, that kind of status quo is not sustainable. Sooner or later, life is about equilibrium. Life is about balance. Sooner or later, the scales have to be balanced. So when Gogo Opry said, those are not fires, they are prophecies, in my mind, I thought to myself, then these are like warning. These fires are like warnings then. If you think about it, Archbishop Desmond Tutu warned our leaders. Baba Credo Mutwa warned our leaders. There's a number of great, leaders of our country that have since passed who have warned our current leaders to say, if you don't change your ways, one day something unprecedented will befall you, because you are toiling, you are playing with the lives of ordinary South Africans. And I get a bit emotional when I talk about this, because it's something I feel very strongly about. It's not right to live in a country where there's so much potential that is not being incubated because our leaders are selfish. It's not like we don't have the resources. And the story is the same across Africa. Africa is in fact the most richest continent on earth, yet it's the most impoverished. Why? Because our leaders simply don't care. God deposited gifts in people. God deposited gifts, and those gifts need an environment that would incubate them so that they can grow and materialize. Gifts are like seeds. They need to be in environments that will facilitate or assist their growth. So if you, in a country where your leaders don't create the right environment for your gifts to thrive, it becomes a problem. Now, that doesn't mean that if the leaders don't change, then your gifts are not going to go anywhere. You can still, regardless of where you are, you can still make things happen for yourself. But what I'm saying is, if our current leaders don't shape up, if our current leaders don't get off their high horse and all that ignorance that we will rule forever, then one day they'll be in for a very big surprise. And this is not going to be something that's done by the people. It's going to be a higher power that would somehow influence those events. I don't know what that is, but all I'm saying is, if they don't hearken to all the warnings, then something unexpected is going to happen and they'll find themselves begging to remain in power.